Hello and welcome to Dining with Death, where we discuss infamous cases of death and murder that have an element of food to them, and then we cook the food from the case. I'm Stacey Lee. Let's begin. On April 22, 2018, in the Antioch neighborhood of Nashville, Tennessee, it was business as usual at the local Waffle House restaurant. In the 24-hour restaurant, diners were eating, ordering, and coming and going as usual, even though the usual at this particular restaurant includes business after 3 in the morning. The diners and the employees had no way of knowing that sitting in a pickup truck in the parking lot was a deranged man with deadly plans. At about 3:25 a.m., an almost naked man who was wearing nothing but a green jacket walked towards Waffle House carrying an AR-15 rifle. He shot and killed the first 2 people he encountered who were standing outside the building. The shots shattered the front windows of the restaurant. He then continued inside the restaurant, firing constantly. He shot 2 other patrons, killing one and wounding the other, who later died at Vanderbilt University Medical Center. 4 other people were either grazed with bullets or injured in seconds. This is another case where people are going about their business, going about their day, and doing something we all do all the time, which is go out to eat, and they're killed for it. And I always want to put that out there first. The victims are a big part of why I do this, and I want to remember them as people that had lives and people that were just doing something fun, and not just remember them as victims. They were also people just like us. Suddenly, the shooting stopped. 30-year-old James Shaw Jr., who was eating inside, saw the gunman struggling with his weapon and took his chance at ending the massacre. James had been hit by a bullet and was hiding by the restaurant's bathrooms. As the shooting paused, he rushed from his hiding place and wrestled the rifle away from the shooter, who then fled on foot, leaving behind the weapon and the ammunition.
Pretty much thought that some plates had failed. And then it was another loud, shatter. And then that was the glass that was behind us. And then I looked behind me, and it was a gentleman outside on the sidewalk. And then kind of jumped towards the bathroom. And the shooter or suspect entered. He shot towards the bathroom. Pretty sure he grazed my arm, at least that's what they say in the hospital. His gun either got jammed or he was trying to reload. Not exactly sure, but I saw my opportunity in my window. So I took it, and I ran through the door as fast as I can, and just kind of jammed him up with the gun when it pointed down. And then we started kind of wrestling for it and scuffling and fighting for it. And after he let it go with one hand, and then when he just had it in his other hand, I just took it and I tossed it over the counter, and I pretty much removed him out of the restaurant with myself, and then he kind of walked off by himself.
That's a pretty incredible person that will do that. I think it's a lot easier to stay put, and I don't think there's anything, wrong with that, but I mean, it's definitely a hero. A manhunt ensued involving over 150 law enforcement officers and volunteers and lasted throughout the following day. A tip from a community member led police to an area of the woods outside Nashville. There, officers found Travis Renking, age 29, hiding in a wooded area with a handgun, ammunition, and a backpack. He was detained and requested a lawyer. Police quickly uncovered records detailing their own encounters with Renking over the last 2 years that included things like Renking claiming Taylor Swift was following him. The year before the Waffle House shooting, Renking, among other things, had been arrested when he entered a restricted area near the White House. After this, he was forced to surrender all of his firearms. But that apparently just meant they took them from him and gave them to his dad to hold. And of course, that just meant he got him right back from his dad. Hey, as a gun owner, I say we've got to do a little bit better with the way we deal with situations like this. I think we can all agree on that. Renking was taken into custody for the murders of Aquila Da Silva, 23, De Ebony Groves, 21, Joe Perez, 20, and Tarian Sanderson, 29. Ranking was charged with 4 counts of criminal homicide, 4 counts of attempted homicide, and 1 count of having a firearm while committing a dangerous felony. Forensic psychologists were brought in to examine Ranking, and they determined that he suffers from schizophrenia and found him incompetent to stand trial. However, later that year, he was re-examined and found competent to stand trial. The trial is still ongoing, but prosecutors have stated that due to Ranking's illness, they will not seek the death penalty. I will provide updates on this case if I can in the future, but right now stay with me as we make food from Waffle House the place of a tragic killing. Right now, as we go dining with death. We are ready to cook. Waffle House has a very large menu, and there were a lot of things I could have chosen from, but I chose one of their most popular items, biscuits and gravy. Part of the reason that I chose this is because I love biscuits and gravy, but I don't order it in a lot of places because I'm a little picky about my sausage gravy. So I'm going to show you how to make a really good sausage gravy. Biscuits and gravy has to start with good sausage or you're not getting a good end result. Now here's the trick to what makes this gravy a little bit more special. It's the kind of sausage we're using, and we're also going to be using some dried herbs. So it's going to be just kicked up a little bit. This is maple pork sausage. I can smell the maple in it. This comes from my butcher, and I've got my pan nice and hot. We're going to brown this off and leave all the drippings in the pan. As soon as it hit the pan, I can smell the maple. This is 100% pork sausage, no fillers. Stir that up as you're browning it, and make sure to kind of scrape the bottoms of the pan so nothing burns. It's gonna leave plenty of stuff on the bottom of the pan, and we want that. That's what creates our fond. And we're gonna pick all of those flavors up off the bottom of the pan when we add our liquid ingredients. I'm interested what my UK viewers have to say about this recipe, because I once heard that people from the UK think biscuits and gravy is disgusting. Or if you just think it's a weird dish or you don't get it, make sure you let me know. I'm interested. We are crazy for our biscuits and gravy here in America. We even have biscuits and gravy potato chips, or crisps, as you would call them. And they're actually really good. I hate to tell you, but they are. I also like your prawn potato chips. In Canada, I like your ketchup ones. I just like potato chips. Because this sausage is all natural, it's not going to leave a lot of grease in the bottom of the pan. You may use a sausage that leaves a lot more grease than this, but we're adding butter anyway, so grease it up. Okay, the sausage is browned. I'm going to remove it from the pan and put it on a plate with some paper toweling, and we're going to work on the gravy. I've got 4 tablespoons of butter. Let's get that melting. It's going to pick all of those wonderful sausage flavors up off the bottom of the pan. We are going to make a simple roux. Roux is always fat and flour, and it's going to be our thickening agent for the white gravy. I'm going to scrape all of those little bits up off the bottom of the pan. You can see the butter starting to foam, and that means it's nice and hot. I'm going to start with about 1/4 cup of flour, and we'll see how we go from there. You always want to make sure you cook your flour in your fat enough that it loses that raw flour taste. Oh yeah, that's looking good. This was actually 1/3 cup. I always have some extra in case I need it, but I'm only going to use about 1/4 cup, I think. This is 3 cups of whole milk. I'm only gonna add a little in the beginning because I like to make sure that I incorporate my roux before I add the rest of it. It just helps prevent lumps in the gravy from the bottom of the pan. Nobody likes a lumpy bottom. See how just by adding a little bit of that, it's creamy and smooth, and I can see that I don't have any lumps. Now I can add the rest. Just takes a little patience. And here's the last cup. Something to make it just a little extra special. I'm gonna give that a big, heavy splash of half and half. Just make it a little richer. This is the part where I say, and the recipe has no calories, right? But I'm not gonna say that. I've got a little sage and a little bit of thyme, both out of my mom's garden. We're gonna add those to this cream base just to give it a little extra flavor. Sometimes I feel like sausage gravy can be a little bland, and sage is a strong flavor, so I'm only adding maybe half of a teaspoon to all of that milk, and then maybe about a teaspoon of thyme. Let's incorporate those really well before we move on. This is where you're gonna wanna give it a taste and see how salty it is before you add your salt. It definitely needs salt. So I'm gonna give that a big, heavy pinch of kosher salt. And in my opinion, any type of cream-based sauce or gravy needs lots of black pepper. All right, let's stir those in. Okay, you're gonna want that to come to a simmer, but you're gonna keep an eye on it, and you're gonna keep stirring and whisking because you don't want the milk to burn on the bottom of the pan. I'm gonna show you a little trick. See how it coats the back of that spoon and leaves a clean line where you ran your finger? It's ready. Okay, we're gonna add the sausage back in and let it simmer for a couple minutes and come together. That really is quite a nice consistency and thickness. It's still runny enough to spread all over our beautiful biscuits, but it's thick enough to be a gravy and stay put. Okay, I'm gonna pull this off the heat and we're gonna prepare our biscuit. I've got a plate of beautiful buttermilk biscuits here. You can make them out of a can if you want. I happened to have some frozen dough from last time I did these, so I kind of popped these out really quickly, but they smell really good and I'm excited to taste these with the gravy. I like the biscuits split so the gravy can get down in the softer parts of the biscuit. This is looking pretty good. Well, she ain't the prettiest dish that's ever been made, but a lot of Southern cooking is that way. A lot of soul food is that way. We're gonna taste it. That is a one-of-a-kind dish. Nothing tastes like biscuits and gravy. That maple sausage makes a huge difference. If you're really opposed to sweet things with savory things, I get it. But if you like any kind of maple flavoring with your breakfast, you're gonna love this. And I have to tell you, the herbs in the gravy just make a huge difference for me. It takes it from being a really simple and kind of a bland dish that just tastes of milk and kind of creamy, roux, and sometimes you can taste the roux, which is never a good thing. It just takes it to that next level and turns it into its own beautiful little entity. It's not pretty to watch somebody eat this, I know. It's good. If I could get this at my breakfast places, I would. I mean, there's a couple that I do, but a lot of times it's just kind of thrown together really quick, or sometimes it's out of a bag. So it's not a dish I find myself ordering a lot, because to me it's like fish. It can go really bad, but it can also be really fabulous. Ooh, and that sausage has a little spice too. It's really good. Thank you for joining me today as we discuss the Waffle House Massacre and made biscuits and gravy, food from the Waffle House, the site of a really terrible, terrible crime, but also a really beautiful act of heroism. I hope you're well. I appreciate you watching. Like and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I'll see you next time on Dining with Death. Bye.